the supporters um, to really let the elections, let Nigeria be an example when it comes to democracy, good governance, and free and fair play in the sub-region.
The early warning system, EchoWarn, is configured to process the data automatically and provide analysts with results.
There's a feature on the EchoWarn reporter that calls summaries, and these summaries try to get the statistical data that, by responding to these 66 indicators, we get to generate graphs to support exactly what you are doing. So here you can see a picture of some of the graphs. So this picture, as soon as you see this picture, it itself tells you the story, right? So if you are writing a report and you put in this is a very statistical distance. You can't manipulate it, you only generate it from the system as per the reports coming from a focal point. So once you do this and you add to the report that you are writing, nobody can actually question when you are saying that things are actually going from bad to worse. Nobody can question it because the statistical evidence is clearly there for one to see it by himself.
Automatically, it tells you the level of the risk because of the way day in, day out you are inputting data. And also it can tell you also when you double click, it tells you exactly which accident that made the graph to be higher.
Based on the data fed into EchoWarn, the Early Warning Department generates a diversity of reports as mandated by the mechanism.
We have daily highlights, weekly situation report, monthly situation report, early warning report, incident reports, policy briefs, like countries that are in crisis.
We also have thematic reports. So for example, if you have, in the past we've had problems with challenges, we still do have, with drug trafficking. So we write reports based on that, and we share with our sister directorates that is charged with drug trafficking, issues of humanitarian crisis. We do policy briefs on, country where we think something is about to happen or something has happened. We try to build scenarios and propose action for different, we build scenarios, a worst case scenario, best case scenario, and what could actually happen, with options for action, so which are also sent to the policymakers.
To ensure the integrity of the system, there are inbuilt controls.
It's a kind of a closed system. Not everybody has access to it, right? Very few people, members of the Early Warning Directorate, every staff of the Early Warning Directorate has an access. And we also have focal points, the 30 focal points that we have in the various countries, 2 from each country. We have the member state and we have the civil society. They have access with some few other, the president, the vice president, the commissioner for PAPS. They also have access to this system. Everybody has a limit where some of us can view, others can only input, then other administrators can view, edit, and do whatever they can with the system.
The introduction of the early warning system has enabled ECOWAS to remain on top of the situation of things in the region. Information generated on a broad spectrum of issues has enabled decision makers in the region to anticipate possible situations of conflict.
Take a look at what happened in Guinea, for instance. Ordinarily, people thought that the issue in Guinea was to do with the political crisis which happened. But that was not the issue, because over time, the monitoring had actually told us that what has happened is that the average Guinean is supposed to provide for the family. And now it came to a point that the middle class that made up the huge number of Guineans were not able, if you like to use the Nigerian parlance, their take-home salaries were not enough to take them home. And because of that, they had no option than to go to the streets to address the issue of governance. Now, what happened was that at a facial value, you would think that it is the protest was against the government of the day, but it was an economic issue. So the early warning was able to now advise the policymakers on which direction to go. And that was why when the special envoy of ECOWAS got to Guinea, he understood where to approach the issue from. The second thing is Cote d'Ivoire. In an attempt to address the issue of Cote d'Ivoire, the civil society perspective was well respected by ECOWAS.
The same thing is also happened in the case of Niger. During ECOWAS meetings, it was becoming clear that the former President Tanja was not going anywhere. So management was informed that this was likely to happen, and if that became the case, and based on our report actually, management set up, appointed a mediator, a facilitator, former head of state General Abubakar, who went there to negotiate, with the parties, and from the system again, we were able to report that if this negotiation or mediation did not work, that there might be a coup. So we were able to preempt sort of what was going to happen in Niger.
In 2003, Guinea-Bissau was involved in a serious matter. 2002-2003, with Kumbayala and all these things. It was virtually going to be the civil war was going to come back. So I had to take the first mission to go and get the first-hand report. And when there, I met the president, met the opposition, met the security people, press people, and sent a situation report. Based on that, an information mission was to dispatch from here to find out the situation on the ground, because it was really serious.
ECOWAS Commission don't know what happened on the border between Senegal and Gambia. They don't know what happened on the ground, on the Casamance. They have some parameters that they cannot know. We will try to find out which kind of problem can be in that between Senegal and Gambia. We inform ECOWAS Commission to tell them, if we didn't be careful on this month, this can happen between those two countries.
To ensure that the system works optimally, focal points are continually trained.
And we train them twice a year. Retrain them. In the sense that they are the one giving us field, because we can get anything from here if the system, if they have to know enough. But if you want to verify the information, you need somebody on the ground.
ECOWARN has two components, the early warnings component and a response component. While the early warning has performed substantially, the response mechanism has, however, not really been up to speed.
The response is very, very political, so there could be a number of issues. Even if the organization, ECOWAS as an organization, wants to do something, it could be impeded by other political considerations. So I don't think really that there is any of the crises within the region that was not preempted through the alert and warning system.
Nonetheless, the ECOWAS early warning system has ensured that vigilance is now a more conscious preoccupation of West African leaders. Keeping an eye on the reports from ECOWARN has enabled the peace and security architecture of ECOWAS function more tactically. From the proliferation of small arms to fuel the rebel activity in the Casamance region to the emerging menace of drugs and drug money, ECOWARN is putting West African leaders on notice. Analysis making the connection between disparate social and sundry political activity have alerted leaders to the wavelengths of risk. The young boy in Monrovia should now have a more secure future because of ECOWARN. The spiraling youth unemployment in Liberia is a constant feature of ECOWARN alerts. Because of this, his country and regional leaders can more creatively address job creation with the multiplier benefits to the society. The days the devil walked through parts of West Africa may just be over. The West African region may now just be better positioned